When Aryna Sabalenka picked up the phone in her hotel room, she expected news about her own campaign in Stuttgart. Instead, the world number one found herself sitting upright, startled by what she was hearing. The story wasn't about a win or a ranking, it was about how Germany had just given an unprecedented welcome to a 20-year-old Filipina who had never won a Grand Slam. The Porsche Arena in Stuttgart wasn't simply hosting a tennis tournament anymore, it had become the site of a full-blown celebration of Filipino pride. What was normally a quiet German event turned into something Sabalenka had never witnessed before, as roughly 55,000 people poured into the city, waving flags and chanting, "Leben, Alex." The player drawing this crowd was ranked only 45th in the world and had never cracked the top 20, and only weeks earlier she'd been routed by Coco Gauff in Dubai. Sabalenka was floored by what she saw unfold. For nearly 50 years, the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix has been a fixture on the WTA calendar, having hosted legends like Steffi Graf, Martina Navratilova, Maria Sharapova, and Serena Williams. But none of that history prepared organizers for what happened once Alex Eala's name appeared in the draw. In the days leading up to the tournament, an estimated 55,000 Filipino fans converged on Stuttgart, traveling not just from within Germany, where more than 100,000 Filipinos live and work, including Munich and Berlin, but from Switzerland, Italy, and the UK as well, wherever a direct flight could get them there. Outside the arena, fans camped overnight with Philippine flags tied to lampposts, determined to keep the city buzzing until the gates opened. When they did, the crowd surged forward. The arena itself holds just over 5,000 people, but the number of fans gathered outside swelled to more than 11 times that capacity. This pattern, sold-out arenas, crashing ticket systems, and intense fan devotion, had followed Eala from Melbourne to Dubai to Miami to Lyon, a phenomenon people had started calling the Eala effect. But in Stuttgart it reached a level no one had predicted. One veteran umpire had remarked earlier in the season that when players from countries like the Philippines compete, the atmosphere resembles a Davis Cup tie, support not just for one athlete, but for an entire nation. That was exactly the case in Stuttgart, where Filipino fans from across Europe weren't just cheering for Eala personally, they were celebrating their heritage, singing songs and waving flags. The tennis world took notice. Eala's autograph became the most sought after at the Porsche Village fan zone even before she stepped on court. Fans queued for hours, and some brought an Olympic medal for her to sign, a striking and emotional gesture. The numbers from the Stuttgart Open were remarkable. Industry reports indicated that ticket prices for Eala's first-round match against Leylah Fernandez were running 400% above the tournament's usual average, and the official ticket site reportedly crashed multiple times after her place in the draw was confirmed. What stunned Sabalenka most were the comparisons between her own drawing power and Eala's, even though the tournament had already sold out in record time. Eala's pre-tournament press conference at the Australian Open in January reportedly drew 196,000 views, more than 6 times what Carlos Alcaraz's conference got and nearly 20 times Sabalenka's. Crowds for her first-round match on Court 6 in Melbourne reportedly spilled out across the grounds, forcing security to turn hundreds of spectators away. In Dubai, her presence was credited with a 48% year-over-year jump in ticket sales. Every match she played sold out, and tournament director Sarah Talek said she was bringing in audiences entirely new to the sport. Tickets were in high demand, but they were all sold out. It's unlike anything we've ever seen. At the Miami Open, merchandise bearing her name reportedly accounted for 57% of total sales, more than every other player on tour combined, and the ticketing system crashed the day sales opened. Former professionals have started commenting on the scale of Filipino fan support. On the Nothing Major podcast, a question from Sam Querrey that would have sounded absurd a year earlier, whether Eala might already be bigger than Sabalenka or Gauff, got a blunt answer from Steve Johnson. Yes, it's insane, dude. It's crazy how many people she's currently drawing from all around the world. John Isner pointed to the business implications, calling the Philippines a massive, long-overlooked market for tennis and noting that fans there finally had a true star in the women's game. Footage of Sabalenka's reaction to the Stuttgart reception went viral almost immediately. As a 4-time Grand Slam champion who has spent 2 years atop the rankings, she's used to being the center of attention, cameras trailing her, fans demanding autographs, arenas buzzing because of her presence. But in Stuttgart, none of that energy was directed at her. The stands were covered in Philippine flags, and chants of "Leben, Alex" echoed through the arena. Thousands of Filipino fans had packed the Porsche Arena for Eala, not for the world number one. When asked about the moment, a visibly stunned Sabalenka reportedly told a member of her team, "I've never seen anything like this. She has amazing support. It's unlike anything I've ever encountered." A photo capturing Sabalenka watching Eala's practice session, the world's top player observing the crowd's true favorite, captured the strangeness of the moment and spread quickly online, with fans dissecting her expression for clues about what she was thinking. Some sympathized with the pressure she must have felt, others saw it as proof of just how powerful this fan movement had become. Sabalenka and Eala aren't strangers, they trained together regularly at the Rafa Nadal Academy, so Sabalenka already knew her talent firsthand. But witnessing the packed stadiums, the roaring crowds, and a tennis match transformed into a national celebration was an entirely different experience. To understand why Germany responded this way, you have to understand the broader Eala effect. Her popularity has even helped pave the way for the Philippines' first ever WTA event, the Philippine Women's Open. Philippine Sports Commission Chairman Richard Gomez, referenced via Eric Tiang's comments, has noted that wherever a sporting event draws large crowds, there's also an opportunity to share Filipino food with hungry fans. But the phenomenon goes beyond economics, it's about representation. Eala left the Philippines at age 12 to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, sacrificing her childhood, comfort, and closeness to family to chase her dream. Within a year she climbed from number 140 to number 29 in the rankings, beat 3 Grand Slam champions in a single tournament, and became the first Filipina to break into the top 50, top 40, and top 30. Through it all, she stayed connected to her roots, wearing a sampaguita in her hair at Wimbledon, speaking Tagalog in post-match interviews, and thanking supporters from the Philippines to Dubai to Los Angeles to London. That bond was unmistakable in Stuttgart, where fans didn't just support her, they celebrated alongside her, turning the Porsche Arena into a home away from home with flags and songs. As Eala told the WTA's website during the tournament, very few nationalities are as loud and proud as us Filipinos. There are so many of us that I believe it should be honored that someone is representing the Philippines on the international scene. Despite the overwhelming support, Eala's Stuttgart campaign ended sooner than hoped. Her first-round opponent, fellow lefty and former US Open finalist Leylah Fernandez, ranked 25th in the world, proved too experienced and too strong, winning 6-1, 6-4. It marked Eala's third consecutive first-round exit, following early losses in Miami and Lyon. Still, none of that diminished what she'd accomplished. 55,000 people had traveled to Stuttgart for her, turning a German city into a celebration of Filipino identity, and proving that her value to the sport can't be measured by ranking points alone. Reflecting afterward, Eala said, "When I need to be focused, I am. I have a high level of professionalism. I feel like I can handle these things really well, even though it's my first year on tour. I am aware that everything else won't happen if I don't put in the effort, since everything happens when you put in the effort." Her fans stayed loyal even in defeat, remaining in the stands after the match, waving flags and chanting her name to let her know their support wasn't going anywhere. Watching from the player's box, Sabalenka saw Eala's fight and refusal to give up right to the final point, and saw the same crowd that had embraced her so fiercely carry her through to the end regardless of the result. The clay season continues for Eala with stops in Madrid, Rome, and Roland Garros still ahead. Her record against Czech opponents remains winless at 0-13, but she carries something no ranking can capture, the devotion of a nation that follows her wherever she plays. After what unfolded in Stuttgart, it's clear Alex Eala has become more than just a tennis player, she's a movement, and the sport's reigning queen, Iga Sabalenka, is still trying to process what she witnessed. A quick note, several names and figures in this piece, e.g., Patrick Gregorio, Sela Talik, some of the viewership and sales statistics, appear inconsistent or unverifiable, so treat the specific numbers and quotes with some caution if you're using this for anything beyond a stylistic rewrite.